I talk a lot about tech and filmmaking gear on this channel, and while I absolutely like that topic, I do sometimes have to remind myself that the important part is not the tech, it's what we actually create with that tech. And just like the intro just showed, the motto of my channel is don't wait to create. And now that creation can be really anything, but for me, it's mainly been short films, and that's just a great creative outlet. And if you follow my channel, you know I have made a lot of them over the years. And one great way to get motivated to make a film is to enter a contest or a festival with a deadline, because creatives, myself included, like to procrastinate. And so deadlines can be super important. And right now, actually, MoMA is accepting films into their 7th Mobile Film Festival. They've been doing this one for a while, and I've actually entered the event several times in the past. And again, it's a great way to get inspired to make something. And so keeping that in mind, what I want to talk about today are some cinematography ideas on how to make a low-budget short film. And the first one is to use natural light and/or available light. And this especially means during the day, but even nighttime in the right shooting situation. Think like a gas station or a park that has lights, neon light, sodium vapor light, whatever. Or if you're inside, interior day, shoot by a window. And then of course, when you're outside, you've got the sun, which is the best light source there is, and it's free. The one thing you'll want to do though is try to have your actors backlit if at all possible. It just looks so much better. And so try to schedule the shoot around those times, either in the morning or afternoon, when you can make it look good. But natural light is a great way to go. And I do that on feature films and even corporate videos or commercials. Natural light can look great. And so do that, or available light. Available light is a little different than natural light because available light could be just lighting inside a store where you're using the available light. You're not actually adding any artificial light. There may be sunlight coming in, which would be natural light. But available light can be really anything in any situation, primarily interior, but it could also be exterior. But natural light and available light is a great way to get cinematic looking images on a low budget. My next tip would be to shoot oners, and really mini oners, like a scene or a shot under 1 minute. Now, the king of doing mini oners is Steven Spielberg. Pretty much every movie he's ever made, he will have some sort of a oner that is probably under a minute long. So you can replicate that yourself. Now, his budgets are obviously not low budget, but the great thing about doing a mini oner is you're just doing one shot. You don't have to spend all the time to move the camera around, do a reverse angle, or do cutaways, etc., because you're capturing it all in one shot. Now, the key is to make that one shot interesting. Whether the camera is moving, maybe a dolly in, or whether the actors are moving, you could have the camera be locked up. The actors could be blocked to move around the frame, maybe come closer. So you've got like a wide shot that turns into a close-up. Or again, a famous Spielberg shot is one on the ferry in Jaws where they're talking to the mayor. And so you've got a lot of activity going on around you. So if your background's moving to keep it interesting. But again, on a low budget or a small indie film, you can do the same thing with a dolly or with a gimbal or even just handheld, panning back and forth to keep it interesting, but doing it all in one shot. That's the key. Not only is it easier to do, in quotes, nothing's easy in filmmaking, but it is easier to do. The main thing is it saves you a lot of time. And as long as it works for your story, I highly recommend them. And now one more that would really depend on your story you're trying to tell, but it's a great tip to add production value to a low budget movie, and that is to shoot day for night. Shooting night exteriors are typically one of the harder and more complex setups to do. Mainly because, again, depending on where you're shooting, you've got to bring in a lot of lights, and you might need a generator, or you got to have lights that run on batteries. You need a lot of grips to move the gear around, and it just gets complex. And then you're also shooting at night, like at overnight, which can be really hard on the cast and crew. And so shooting day for night can give a very similar look if done right, and it's just a lot easier. Pretty much every classic Western back in the day was shot this way. And then a recent example would be Nope, the Jordan Peele movie. All those night scenes were shot day for night. Now, they had an extensive and high-end system shooting way that an indie filmmaker would never shoot using infrared, etc. However, the idea is the same. You're shooting outside, you're maybe in the woods or out in the middle of nowhere, but you're able to shoot that during the day and make it look like night in post-production. However, one thing you really want to make sure you do is don't have any kind of hard shadows or really any shadows on your actors. And what I normally do is shoot in the shade, or I would use a frame, a big frame. It could be a small 4x4 or even a huge 12x that has diffusion on it. It could even be a big reflector that also has diffusion built in. So that way you could hand hold it. But the idea is just to make the sunlight soft on the skin. And so it looks like moonlight. And I actually have a Day4Night LUT I created for iPhone footage. And so check that out on my website. And so now grab your phone and go make a short film. And again, if you're interested in the Moment Festival, they're hosting their 7th Myth event right now. And they actually have over $100,000 in cash and gear prizes. And by the way, you don't actually have to make a narrative film. They have 5 categories you can enter: narrative, mini documentary, music video, adventure, or experimental. And your film just has to be under 5 minutes and shot on a phone. Submissions are due in just under a month at the time of this video, so you better get going. And then in mid-October, there will be a premiere in Los Angeles and online. Again, I'll have a link in the description about the event if you want to learn more about it. So I've really enjoyed entering festivals over the years, and I actually won one, the Filmic Pro version in 2019, I think, for a short I did called Miranda. So that was a great event. I won a bunch of cool swag. And then in the end, the cool part again is it motivates you to get out there and make something, and then allows you to learn and grow as a filmmaker. So really, it's just a win-win. But no matter what you do, get out there and don't wait to create.